Let's do it.
Chief, mate, what do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky.
Listening to the world's most hated, most racist online show in America, Reese on the Radio.
All right, ladies, buckle up. It's showtime.
What's wrong with being an angry prophet denouncing the hypocrisies of our times?
Do you want to be an angry prophet denouncing the hypocrisies of our times?
Yeah, I think I'd like to be an angry prophet denouncing the hypocrisies of our times.
Then grab it, grab it.
Mary had a little lamb, its fleece was white as snow, and everywhere that Mary went, the lamb was sure to go.
Turn on, tune in, and drop out.
Yeah, I'm super cool.
I never once said na-da-da.
I think everyone wants to know where we came from and how the universe began.
You know what I'm saying?
I have sinned against you.
Reese.
Hey, what's up? It's the world's most hated, most racist online show in America, Reese on the Radio. We are here live on Wack FM, music, news, and talk station. You know the phone number, it's right there, 703-646-8754. Again, 703-646-8754. No phone calls now, because we have to get to something a lot more pressing. A lot more pressing. And you know what it is, folks. We have to get into this nonsense that happened at the Oscars. We have to get into it tonight. Welcome to your week. It is Monday. Almost the end of February. God, we just come tearing through 2017. Tearing through it. Now, I didn't get to see this. I just watched this for the first time less than 2 minutes ago. God, this was embarrassing. Many people believe that this happened because there was just too much focus. Too much focus on who is going to be the reprobate that was going to sit around and bash Donald Trump at every opportunity they got. And they took it. They did take it. But no one's talking about the political commentary. No one's talking about it. They're talking about this nightmare brought to you by those fine folks from Bonnie and Clyde, Warren Beatty, and Faye Dunaway. Let's all take a listen. It's glorious.
And the Academy Award.
They look dumbfounded.
For Best Picture.
La La Land.
And the crowd goes wild.
La La Land has 14 Oscar nominations this year and is tied for the most nominated movie in Oscar history, winning 7 Oscars. Production design, cinematography, original score, song, directing, actress, and Best Picture.
They were so happy. After all of that, tied for most nominated, Titanic was the other one, by the way. They won for Best Actress, Emma Stone, who I heard was wearing a Planned Parenthood pin. Just off her spaghetti strap, if you will. Her and Dakota Johnson. 2 people I hope never reproduce anyway. Anyway. Oh, and everybody was so happy. The crowd went nuts. La La Land. Yeah. Movie about 2 white people falling in love, trying to make it through Hollywood. The speech that the producer gave was incredible. He starts talking about diversity.
Thank you to the Academy. Thank you to Lionsgate. Thank you to our incredible cast and crew. We're all up here right now. Thank you to Jamie Feldman, to Gary Gilbert. Thank you to my parents for supporting my choice to pursue a career in the arts, even though it was a little bit crazy. Arthur Horowitz, you are my fantasy baby. And to my kind, generous, talented, beautiful, blue-eyed wife and creative partner, Julia Hart, you have inspired me to become the man I am right now, and more importantly, the man I'm still becoming. There's a lot of love in this room, and let's use it to create and champion bold and diverse work that inspires us towards joy, towards hope, and towards empathy.
Here's to the fools who made me dream, my uncle Gary Platt, my mentor Sam Cohn, my parents, my children, my wife Julie, on whose shoulders I've stood for 40 years because she insisted I reach for the stars, and to the Hollywood community that I'm so proud to be a part of, and to the Hollywood in the hearts and minds of people everywhere. Repression is the enemy of civilization, so keep dreaming, because the dreams we dream today will provide the love, the compassion, and the humanity that will narrate the stories of our lives tomorrow.
They're talking all about it. Humanity, repression being the enemy. Oh, going up there and they were strongly talking about sea of white people. Sea of white people on their soapbox talking about humanity, diversity. Movie about two white folks. Oh, it didn't stop there.
My family, Maman, Papa, Jeff, Hommage, vous adore. Matt Pluff, you kicked this off. And Damien Chazelle, we're standing on your shoulders. We lost, by the way, but, you know.
Guys, I'm sorry.
No, there's a mistake. Moonlight, you guys won Best Picture.
This is not a joke. I'm afraid they read the wrong thing.
This is not a joke. Moonlight has won Best Picture. Moonlight, Best Picture.
Absolutely horrible.
This is very unfortunate what happened. Personally, I blame Steve Harvey for this. I would like to see you get an Oscar anyway. Why can't we just give out a whole bunch of them?
I'm going to be really proud to hand this to my friends from Moonlight.
That's nice of you.
Oh, it just went downhill from there.
I once... Warren, what did you do? I want to tell you what happened. I opened the envelope, and it said, Emma Stone, La La Land. That's why I took such a long look at Faye and at you. I wasn't trying to be funny.
Well, you were funny.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Wow, this is
Moonlight, the Best Picture.
Yeah.
Oh. It's just awful. Everybody in the crowd is stunned. If you saw it, you saw it. But it's probably it's the biggest cluster screw I've ever seen in my entire life. Again, it's all anybody could talk about, and rightly so. I knew as I'm watching this thing, I'm getting bored with it. They're boring me to tears. Boring me to tears. It's like, oh, I just want to go to bed. I was in bed by, I want to say 10:30, 11 o'clock. There's so much stuff that I didn't even watch. I missed mean tweets. I think I went to bed roughly after the skit. We're bringing a tourist in, which, by the way, that to me garnered my attention more than anything else. Let me tell you why. Why did that garner my attention? It's real simple. When you saw those tourists come in to see all of the Hollywood elites, and you saw the one guy, Carl, or whatever his name was, from Chicago, leaning down, kissing all of these white women's hands. Oh. I cringed. Because this gives them power, if you get my meaning. This gives them power. This affirms their belief that they're omnipotent. You know what I mean? This confirms that. To see these fans out there just so, I can't believe, it was a skit to do nothing more to reaffirm these people. They're already sitting in a place navel gazing, and then they bring a tour bus in to show exactly why they are who it is that they are, because people adore them. They hold them to high esteem. Typically, the black couple who comes in who's engaged, black woman points right over to Denzel Washington. It was all typical. Nothing new here. We knew. If that woman said, I'm here for Ryan Gosling, they'd have lost their minds. Black folks were like, Denzel's right in the front row. What's wrong with his broad? But you saw it. You saw it. People just dumbfounded and stunned. It was embarrassing. Ugh. Poor Warren Beatty. I never liked him anyway. You ever see that garbage Bullworth he put out? Oh, what do you expect? But anyway, when we come back, I want to talk about this transgender boy, girl, shim, herm, whatever the F it is, that's beaten everybody in wrestling. Nobody seems to have a problem with it. But we'll break it down. Stick around. Reese on the Radio returns in a moment. Right here on Wack FM.
You're listening to the world's most hated, most racist online show in America. Reese on the Radio. You're listening to the world's most hated, most racist online show in America, Reese on the Radio.
All right, we're back. It's Reese on the Radio right here live on Wack Family Music News and Talk Station. Transgender wrestler wins first 2 matches at state meet, and from what I hear, won the whole damn thing. Now, this is a transgender girl who transgendered into a male, but is allowed to wrestle on the girls' wrestling team against girl opponents. But while the girl is transitioning into a boy, that child is on testosterone. You follow me? Testosterone. Which in essence just means that the transgender girl is on performance-enhancing drugs. And I believe has a whopping record of somewhere around 54 or 57 and 57 wins, no losses. This transgender thing has gotten out of control. Now, I want you to hear this Tucker Carlson exchange. This is an incredible conversation. And I'm hoping that this is the one that I got right. No, that's not it. My bad. Tucker Carlson was on last Friday. And it was, let me see, transgender conversation. I normally have this stuff up, but I had to switch devices. So I want you to hear this conversation because it's incredible. This exchange between the two. In fact, yeah, he's talking to a guy who's saying that Donald Trump is a monster because he pulled back on President Obama's, let's just say, guidance outline for every school to outfit their school with a transgender bathroom or an ability for transgenders to go to school. He even went so far as to say if you don't provide that, he was going to cut off federal funding. Now, I couldn't believe why most people did not get up in arms about this. They should have, but they did not. Why? Because it's President Obama. For crying out loud, I said this over and over again. President Obama could slap a baby in the face and they would find an excuse for why he slapped him. Oh, the baby must have been a Republican. Oh, it was probably a Republican's baby. Or, my favorite, what that baby do? But here's the exchange. You need to hear it for yourself.
Announced a new rule requiring every public school in the country to let transgender students use whichever bathroom or locker room match their preferred gender identity. Well, yesterday, the Trump administration retracted that rule, saying that bathroom policies like these are state issues and shouldn't be set by the decrees of 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Zach Pekanis is the senior advisor to the DNC and helms their Trump war room. This morning on Twitter, he called President Trump a monster for reverting to the policy in place just 1 year ago. He joins us now. Zach, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
So, I mean, I think there are two sides to every debate, including this one. What I was so struck by was your tweet where you, and I'm reading it now, I woke up feeling so sick to my stomach about the Trump White House's attacks on vulnerable LGBT kids. These people are monsters. Mm-hmm. And I thought to myself, was Obama attacking vulnerable LGBT kids a year ago before putting this policy into place? He spent 7 years as president and didn't do this. Was he a monster attacking LGBT kids during that time?
Well,
great question, fair question. Barack Obama didn't wait until the last year. In fact, he did it the summer of his last year as president of the United States. It was not even a piecemeal. It was just, something to throw out there. 7 years to do something about transgender, supported gay marriage, didn't really do anything. But the Supreme Court, of course, upheld the ruling that, gay marriage is legal in the country, even though Supreme Court doesn't make laws. I digress. But never ever call Barack Obama a monster for never implementing it.
I mean, what we know is that he put these protections in place. And let's be clear about what we're actually talking about. This is guidance that was provided to schools that schools wanted and asked for, and it's for a very specific reason. They wanted to create a safe environment for all the kids in their school, and they wanted to avoid Title IX lawsuits. I mean, that's what's so mind-boggling about what the Trump administration did today. He took away practical guidance to school administrators and principals who were looking to create this safe environment and were looking to not get sued for Title IX violations.
I mean,
which again, watch why President Trump said that he believed that the office in Pennsylvania, on Pennsylvania Avenue, 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, should not be dictating to states what it is that their bathroom laws should be. It should be a state's law. So why not go to, because of course this guy is happy to unilaterally force every school to do this with their bathrooms instead of giving states rights. They're okay with states' rights in the other case. But this time they were absolutely happy with the unilateral reform of bathrooms in schools. So Tucker had a response for that.
These guidelines still exist on the internet, presumably, and they could look them up. It's not like they're disappearing from the English language. And so I still am waiting for the answer to my question, though. It took the Obama people 7 years to do this, and that's fine with me, but I'm not the one calling people monsters for pulling them back. So, like, are you giving President Obama a pass for not acting on this sooner?
I'm giving President Obama extraordinary praise for taking decisive action to protect these vulnerable kids. Okay. And I am saying that Donald Trump is not only a monster, but he's a coward.
So President Obama took decisive action. Waited 7 years to do it, but he was decisive. Now, decisive means you do it, what, within the first term, maybe? Maybe you don't get it out in the first 200 days, but this is decisive. 7 years later. Okay, yeah, I'd say you're giving him a pass.
We're talking about somebody who is so emasculated by Vladimir Putin that he has to.
All right, I'm going to have to stop you there because now we're getting off.
That he has to come back and pick on vulnerable kids. Okay. These kids are the most vulnerable children in the country.
Slow down a sec. Let's get to the core of the issue.
Absolutely.
Look, I get that I'm never going to get you to say that Obama should have done it. That's fine. Let's move from the politics to the science, because this policy has implications that go far beyond bathrooms and locker rooms. The core question is what constitutes male and female. And the implication of these guidelines that Obama put in place is that a man is someone who says he's a man, and a woman is someone who says she's a woman. You get to decide your gender. There's no biological anchor to sex anymore. It's all determined by the individual. So my obvious question for you is, how do I know if a person's male or female? Is there some other absolute standard that people have to meet to be male or female, other than what they say?
One's gender identity is enough to show what gender they are. And so if you're confused about that, I mean, I leave that, to your level of enlightenment and
No, it's not about enlightenment. It's not about it.
So again, pay attention to what he says here. He says it's about the level, whatever the level of your enlightenment is. So now science means nothing. You must be enlightened. So he's trying to insult Tucker Carlson, or anyone who agrees with Tucker Carlson and disagrees with him, that based on the level of your enlightenment, that's up to you. But what we're saying here the law should be is whomever identifies as a woman and whoever identifies as a man should be seen as such, and that's the bottom line. That's it. If a man says that he's a woman, he's identified as a woman. That's it. That's the level of enlightenment you must reach. That's it. That's the argument. But Tucker wasn't taking it taking that just sitting down.
It's not about moral status. This is a real question because there are all kinds of institutions in American life that function on a sex-segregated basis.
That's right.
Women's college, sports, both professional and amateur, prisons. And so you're telling me that I can play on a women's sports team when I say I'm a woman?
What we are saying is that in this guidance with public schools, which and the vulnerable kids that are there, that there are specific guidelines that these teachers and these supervisors and these principals asked for in how to create safe.
Okay, but now you're
Not
going back to
the question.
You just said a second ago
that is what we're talking about.
No, let me take you back 3 sentences. When you said gender identity is determined by the person who possesses it. That's almost exactly what you said.
Correct.
And I'm saying there are massive implications of this that everyone is either too dumb or too embarrassed to explore, but let's do so now. If your sex is what you say it is, then what prevents me from playing on a women's field hockey team? What prevents me from getting convicted of a felony and demanding to go to a women's prison? And it's a real question.
It's not a
Why is it not a real question?
It's not a real question because it is pretty absurd, and there are no other examples.
Why?
Because there are no examples of this.
What do you mean?
Now, he says there's no examples of this. Bradley Manning now calls himself Chelsea Manning. You remember him? He was the first Edward Snowden, the leaker, who made WikiLeaks what it is today. He's now a woman and was demanding not only that we pay for his gender redefinition or whatever the F that was, but to also put him into a women's prison. We've had several cases where men have been asked to put in women's prisons, transgenders. In fact, we even had a transgender man who turned himself into a woman in a woman's prison, and guess what? They put him back in a man's prison. Why? Because he was having sex with the women in the women's prison. He says there's no cases of this. Yeah, sure there isn't.
I'm sorry, but there are no examples. This is the same argument about saying that this will allow sexual predators to go into women.
I'm not making that argument.
Yes, but you are making that argument.
Okay, what I'm saying is, I just want to know what the standards are. I'm not actually making any claims. I'm merely asking a question, and I want you to answer.
Yes, the standards are
Is there a scientific standard? Because when you deal with questions of biology, that is a species of science. So what's the scientific standard? I'm a scientist. I want to know if you're a man or a woman. How do I find out?
Look, these are discussions that I encourage you to have with someone who is transgender, and they can come and talk to you about.
I don't need that to speak to a trainer. I can speak to you because you think about this stuff for a living. So it's a very simple question.
Yes.
So now he's telling Tucker that he needs to have a conversation with a transgender person. Why not have a conversation with an actual scientist? A transgender person is only going to promote exactly what he's promoting. And that is, I identify as a woman, end of discussion. So what I say goes. I decide to be a woman, that's how you approach me. Just deal. Science? Who needs that old science nonsense? I identify as a woman, you need to be enlightened. It went on.
I want to know if you're a man or a woman. I'm a scientist. How do I find out?
Your gender identity determines your gender, period.
Okay. So should...
Your gender identity determines your gender, period. That's it. Your gender identity determines your gender, period. It's settled. Settled science. Don't believe me? Ask this goofball.
Someone who looks like me, I look like a man, you think I was a man, I say I'm a woman, and I demand to play in a women's sports team, I demand to go to women's college, I demand a small business administration loan for women-owned businesses. That's a real thing. That's $1 billion question. For real. Can you turn me down if I say I'm a woman?
The question that is on the table right now is about Title IX.
Let's not
and about guidance. No, but you want to go off on
Title IX applies. It's not a tangent. Title IX applies and was created around the question of women's sports. So, as a apparent man, if I say I'm a woman, is that enough? Do I meet the standard as a woman to play in a women's sports team? That goes right to Title IX. Don't dodge the question.
I'm not dodging the question. This is something the Supreme Court is looking at next month. And yes, the answer is absolutely yes.
Okay.
Gender identity determines one's gender.
Let me ask you
period.
So you heard him. So, going right into Title IX, it means that if a man says that he wants to play on a woman's team, he can. That's it, because he determines himself as a woman, and he said it again. Period. Period. End of discussion.
And this is a matter of civil rights.
Is there science behind this? Because I know that I'm often getting...
Science.
Really, I want you to name a single scientist, just one, who says you can determine your own sex just by saying so. Can you name one scientist who says that?
I'd be happy to send you many after.
A scientist who said you can determine your own sex. An actual scientist, like someone who went to college.
Listen,
Are you serious?
You clearly have some issues around this.
It's not an issue at all. I have questions that you can't answer. And you're instead throwing things like you're not enlightened. I'm asking you a sincere question. What's the science behind this? And you're deflecting. Why?
I'm simply not deflecting. This is a matter of settled science, and it is something.
What's the science exactly? That you are what you say you are? Could I change my race too? And don't dodge that question. That's a real question.
Brilliant question. If I can change, now think about that. This is all about biology. Biology's out the window. I identify as a woman, so can I change my race? I know that there'd be a lot of people out there of a particular ethnicity who would have a big problem with that. But see, I know they're not having that argument, but the argument has to be there. If science can't determine my sexuality, why should it be able to determine my race? This ought to make a lot of my detractors happy who think I just want to be white. Oh, hell! According to the Democrat Party and one of their spokespersons, and he's a DNC advisor. He's a Democratic National Committee advisor. So here's the one who pushes the platform of the Democrat Party. Here it is. He's saying that the Democrat Party platform is whatever it is you identify with is who you are, period. So we asked him, answer the question about the race thing. I know he doesn't want to go there, but he tries.
No, you cannot.
Why can't I change my race, but I can change my sex? What's the difference?
It is not about changing. It is not about changing.
But why
this
isn't
is about
it?
inherently who people are.
Really? What if I say I'm inherently of another race? Who are you to say I'm not?
I mean, again, you're getting into these silly hypotheticals.
It's not silly at all. 2 years ago, nobody thought you could change your own sex. And you're saying it's settled science.
One that is simply not true. We have had transgender protections in this country
but you haven't explained what transgender is. You're just saying it's whatever we say it is.
Look, you want to go into this in this right-wing pseudoscience.
It's not right-wing at all.
It absolutely
It's pseudoscience, right?
So you saw what he did here. It wasn't just deflecting. Now it's demonization. Now it's about it's right wing. It's not right wing. It's just about to even question this is considered right wing. Therefore, to marginalize it, demonize it, push it away, right? Because now it's no longer a part of a discussion. It's not a real discussion anymore. You're just part of this pseudo psychosomatic right wing.
That is simply not true. We have had transgender protections in this country.
But you haven't explained what transgender is. You're just saying it's whatever we say it is.
Look, you want to go into this in this right-wing pseudoscience.
It's not right-wing at all.
It absolutely
It's pseudoscience, right? You name. I will give you $1,000 if you can find any scientist, like an actual biologist at an accredited American college, willing to come on this show and say, here's the science, here's the state of play of biology 2017, name your sex, and that's what it is?
I don't understand.
You can't.
I don't understand why you won't answer the question
I'll answer
about why.
Any question always.
Excellent. Why shouldn't schools who are asking for it get guidance on how to create safe environments for all their kids?
I would say guidance exists. It floats on the internet, and if it's merely guidance, then the federal government needs no more to do with it. They can say, here's our guidance. You're undermining your own argument, which was weak to begin with.
If it is as simple as that, then why do you care so much?
Okay. Unfortunately, we're out of time. I'm actually enjoying this.
I mean, this guy, it was an embarrassment of riches. And this is the guy who's the DNC advisor. And he couldn't even, Tucker eats these people alive every day. If you don't watch his program, you don't know what you're missing. You have no idea what you're missing. But it's so fun to watch. This is what happened. This is what is happening to your Democrat Party. They think they're going to win in 2018 with this nonsense. They really believe they're going to win with this. We'll take a break. We'll be back. It's Reese on the radio.
You're listening to the world's most hated, most racist online show in America, Reese on the radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the cool, outrageous lovers of uniquely raw style.
Let's go. Don't stop baby. Don't stop me. Don't stop, baby. Don't stop me. I like the way that you move, that girl, you know how I do.
It's in your hip. I wanna get right between you. Use it like Lancome lipstick, scarlet. And frankly, I really do care, my damn all you will. This is alright, fam. Now back to ma'am. I knew that you could move like that. I saw you dance, and now you got to show out, make me a fan. Turn up the fan, we gon' sweat crazy. What's your favorite Gatorade, lady? Hadn't been shopping Perrier water, maybe. I hope you ain't hungry, get mashed for no gravy, but we can make some. The best of both juices. We can use this some new make it hot like Crisco. That's how my flow goes. Shawty, you know, if you ain't post, stop being so hot post. My music ain't just for the city and pretty, it's for.
Don't stop, baby. Don't stop me. Don't stop, baby. Don't stop me. I like the way that you move, that girl, you know how I do.
Shawty, you killing them hard with them lady pants. Simple elegance, looking better when you dance. Chest to the sun with a thoroughbred stance. You gallop to the rhythms of a native drum chant. Your granny must be Navajo. Your mama do rodeo, your papa do the Savaro. I bite you, ain't no antidotes. The red blouse do arouse. I come at you like a matador does. Attract horny bulls. All the girls are waiting to see which one he pulls. Eeny, meeny, miny, meeny, prenuptial. Enforcer in the Porsche case, the fool wanna duel. You'll cool, you fucking jets who wanna be next. Ooh, I'll probably get life if I let one off. So I let him go like a pro. Sir, Andre with an accent, 300, Benjamin. Lauren is the middle name that was given by my mama. Success was on her brain. Rain, Bentley funds, got the umbrellas. Benjamin got the sweaters. Hey, what more can we sell them? Sun, spring will bring the parasol. Now watch him parasail to entertain us all.
Don't stop, baby. Don't stop me. Don't stop, baby.
Yeah.
Don't stop me. Don't stop, baby. Don't stop. Don't stop me. I think I like the way you don't stop, baby. Don't stop. Don't stop me. I think I like the way you don't stop, baby. Don't stop, baby. Don't stop. Don't stop me. I think I like the way you don't stop, baby. Don't stop.
You're listening to the world's most hated, most racist online show in America, Reese on the Radio.
Hey, and we're back. It's Reese on the Radio right here live on Wack Family Music News and Talk Station. Real men provide. Real women appreciate it. Sounds like some quote some guy made up, thought it was funny. Maybe post it on Facebook or Instagram, Twitter, whatever. See if you get a reaction. It's not often when it's seen on a billboard on Interstate 40 in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. A billboard on the Interstate 40 West near Winston-Salem is angering many who say that the message is offensive to women. The board reads, as I just read, real men provide, real women appreciate it. The owner of a Winston-Salem women's boutique called Clore has organized a demonstration against the billboard's message for this past Sunday at 11 a.m. Saying, quote, we are not protesting that the sign is capable of existing or the people who put it up or the ad agency or the right to put it up. We are protesting the patriarchy and sexism and that this antiquated way of thinking about women exists at all, the group's Facebook page said. The protest took place, I guess, at the billboard's location, which is headed into Winston-Salem from Kernsville. It's about 85 miles northeast of Charlotte. The billboard belongs to Whitehart Outdoor Advertising. The owner, Bill Whitehart, said the organization that bought the space doesn't want to be identified. But people are outraged at the notion real men provide. And real women appreciate it. What about that is so sexist? But of course, I have other sexist news. The Russian airline known as Aeroflot has blocked old, fat, and ugly female attendants from working on international routes, according to staff. Some woman, I'm not going to pronounce her name, but I believe her name is Yevgenia, who's worked for Aeroflot for 15 years, said, "They told us all that only the young and thin will fly aboard Aeroflot. We are all photographed in mass and measured. Some are even weighed," she added. This was done under the pretext of companies rebranding and ordering new uniforms for staff. Working on an airline international route is considered far more profitable for cabin crew and comes with an added bonus of being able to enjoy layovers in exotic locations. Working on an airline... Aeroflot has denied these claims. A spokesman said these allegations are without foundation. But Yevgenia, if that's how you pronounce her name, said they stopped putting anyone on international flights if they are older than 40 or take more than a Russian size 48, which is a size 16 by U.S. standards. A size 48 is a 16 by U.S. standards. Who do you think is keeping it real here on the size? Are you saying that if a woman here is a size 16, she's really a 48? Is she a 48 long? Maybe a 48 short. But look, I work for a company that actually gives us benefits for not smoking, for having a proper BMI, this body mass index for you knuckleheads on backlick. Yes, BMI. They have plenty of incentives. You know, a healthier you, they call it, is call the program. They want us to be a healthier you. Stop smoking, exercise, join a gym, stay healthy. And you get a reduction in, you know, what you have to pay into your health benefits or your HSA. I don't think there's anything awful about that. But the airline says that they don't. Over 40? There's some good-looking 40-year-olds nowadays. I mean, isn't like 40 the new 30? I mean, how many young people do they have on their staff? I mean, if you get older, you have to stay on the local. Where are you flying from? You flying from like Moscow to Siberia? But you can't go to New York or California? I mean, it's Russian. What was it Vladimir Putin said about that dossier that they claimed they had on Donald Trump? About the paying prostitutes to urinate on the bed that Michelle and Obama possibly slept on. And I think that it was a Russian prime minister or maybe even Vladimir Putin said something about the Russian prostitutes are the best. He probably got great women. Russian prostitutes best. They're most beautiful. Perhaps some of them work for Aeroflot. Who knows? That's what they're saying. We'll take a break. It's Reese on the radio.
You're listening to the world's most hated, most racist online show in America. Reese on the radio. You're listening to the world's most hated, most racist online show in America, Reese on the Radio.
Hey folks, and we're back. It's Reese on the Radio right here live on Wack FM, your music news and talk station. A story that I think we're going to have to follow, folks, before we get out of here is a student. She admits making false rape claims to get sympathy from a guy, police say. A college student who claimed that she was raped by 2 football players at a party last year has now admitted that she made it up, police say. Months after the men were kicked off their team and left Sacred Heart University in Connecticut, Nikki Jovino said she fabricated the allegations to get sympathy from another guy she liked. This, according to the Connecticut Post. Now Jovino is facing charges of her own. We'll get to that in a second. The 2 football players said that at the time that each of them had sex with Jovino, but it was consensual. According to a police affidavit, Jovina has since admitted that she made up the rape accusations so that she wouldn't upset a male friend of hers whom she had a crush on or who she was having some sort of relationship with. Another student recently told authorities about text message between Jovino and the alleged attackers that led police to take another look. When officers discussed their new evidence with Jovino, she finally confessed. University spokesperson Deborah Nowak told the New York Post, "Whenever there's any kind of incident at Sacred Heart University, we go to great lengths to ensure due process for all parties that are involved. The way that this particular case is playing out certainly demonstrates the validity of our procedures. The alleged attackers never faced criminal charges, and one of them is now being readmitted into Sacred Heart, but without a scholarship, and he is no longer playing football. Jovino is now charged, get this, these gentlemen would have faced years, 25. 25. Jovino is now charged with 1 count of second-degree false reporting, second degree, not first degree, and 1 felony count of tampering with or fabricating physical evidence. Now, that can mean a host of things. She may have used semen to legitimize her claims. She could have used DNA of any sort. Well, I guess it goes hand in hand, but she could have used either or, but DNA in general. All right, and fabricating evidence. The felony could land her in prison for up to 5 years. Her arraignment is set for March 3rd. So we have to keep an eye on this. All right, we have to keep an eye on this story. Hey, I haven't done my paper toss, as I always do. Folks, I'm getting out of here. I'm only doing an hour today. I usually do maybe an hour, 15, 20 minutes. But I've got a whole bunch of crap to do. Don't worry. I will be back tomorrow. Same bad time, same bad channel, as I always do. I don't have my my outro music in here today. But, you know, as me adding new elements into the show, you know, we're moving it right along. We're moving it right along. And getting this thing, you know, popping. So that, you know, we have a good enough show for you. All right, I'm out of here. That's our show for today. We will see you next time. Same bad time. Same bad... What? Same bad time, same bad channel. Thank you, as always, for checking us out. We will see you then. I'm Reese on the Radio. Holla, holla, pop your collar, and be good to each other. I'm out.